Nigeria's acting president, Goodluck Jonathan, promises that his country's next election will be free and fair. Mr. Jonathan has named a new cabinet and tells ministers to expect bold steps on infrastructure, corruption, and to bring calm to the Niger Delta. That's coming up next on Straight Talk Africa.
Hello, welcome to Straight Talk Africa, live from the Voice of America studios here in Washington. It's Wednesday, April 14th. I am Shaka Sali. Today we'll talk about the political future of Nigeria. Nigeria's acting president, Goodluck Jonathan, has assured American officials here in Washington he is working quickly to make sure the country's next elections are credible. He also downplayed concerns that Nigeria, the continent's most populous nation, could become a hub for international terrorism. My colleague Nico Korombat has more.
3 years ago, when he was sworn in as Nigeria's vice president, Goodluck Jonathan was a politician from the oil-rich Niger Delta, known for little more than his interesting name. He became acting president 2 months ago, after a prolonged absence of President Umaru Yar'Adua due to illness. Last month, Mr. Jonathan dismissed the country's cabinet and named a new one. At the Council on Foreign Relations, Mr. Jonathan said he intends to work quickly, especially on improving elections.
There are certain things that we can achieve, even for the next 6 months. Certain things that are quite disturbing to the country, especially the issues of conducting elections that are always questionable. These are human issues. You don't need more than a year to solve it. So I've promised Nigerians and the rest of the world that 2011 elections in Nigeria will be credible.
Mr. Jonathan also dismissed the characterization of Nigeria as a potential terrorist hub, following the arrest last year of a Nigerian man, Umar Farouk Abdul Muttalib, accused of trying to blow up a U.S.-bound plane on Christmas Day.
People in the world must live in peace. We don't believe that a group of people or one individual, a group of individuals should be a terror to the rest of the human society.
Mr. Jonathan will be in Washington for several days, meeting other U.S. officials, lawmakers, and the local Nigerian community. He's also attending the Nuclear Security Summit hosted by President Obama. On Sunday, Mr. Jonathan met with President Obama along with several Nigerian officials. The two leaders discussed efforts to combat corruption, terrorism, and to implement electoral reform. Last week, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton welcomed the signing of an agreement to set up a U.S.-Nigerian binational commission.
The commission will focus on electoral reform and election preparations in order to achieve free, fair, and peaceful elections in Nigeria in 2011 and beyond.
Retired Professor Ignatius Ukpabi is an expert on U.S.-Nigerian relations. He says Nigeria's oil output makes it an important U.S. partner. He also welcomed U.S. help in holding fair elections.
I want Nigeria to be a democratic country that other countries should actually emulate. When somebody is elected in Nigeria, we should know that whomever has won that election is actually the person who won the election, not by any other means.
U.S. officials are also calling for changing Nigeria's top election commissioners. The last vote in 2007 was marred by voter intimidation, widespread violence during the campaign and voting, as well as accusations by the opposition of fraud during vote counting. Nico Columbus, VOA News, Washington.
Thanks, Nico, for that interesting report. Now joining us here in our studios are two distinguished guests. Daniel Banjo, gubernatorial candidate for Ogun State of Nigeria. Also joining us is Mobalaje Aluko, professor of chemical engineering at Howard University here in Washington. Well, gentlemen, I have to say that I'm profoundly honored and exceedingly humbled to have the opportunity to host the two of you.
Thank you, Shaka. Nice to see you again. And that's always what you say, Shaka. So
you're most welcome. Later in the program, we'll give you, the audience, a chance to call and talk with our guests. The number to call is 202-619-3111. US country code is 1. Let me come to you immediately. Daniel Banju, you heard that the acting president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, says that his most important, really, I think, goal that he would like to achieve in the next 6 months, really, is holding an election that he characterized as free, fair, and credible. How does he do that?
Well, first of all, I would like to, I'm happy that the acting president, Goodluck Jonathan, agreed with some of us that the election that we have had in Nigeria prior to today have not been free, fair, and they are incredible. Even the election that brought him there.
What about the last one in 1993?
You mean 1993?
Yes.
June 12.
June 12. 1993, the one that was supposed to have been won by multi-billionaire Mashoud Abiola.
Well, my reference was from 1999 up to today. The 1993 election was believed to be the freest and the fairest election Nigeria ever held, which was later cancelled by the evil genius Ibrahim Babangida. But to answer your question, I believe if the acting president is serious about holding a credible election in Nigeria, the man called Ewu must be shown out the door. Then, as he had said...
You mean the chairman of the
Professor Maurice Ewu.
The independent?
Yes.
National Electoral Commission?
We call him dependent. It's dependent on whoever that they want in power. But the point is that they must quickly assess what happened in Anambra. Anambra elections were not that free and fair, where they collapsed some polling units into others without informing, not even INEC staff, without even informing the public. So, and then when the citizens complained, the attitude of the electoral bodies, the several electoral bodies, is not very kind at all. It's like, why are you complaining? People must complain. And those who are charged with conducting elections must listen. They must be amenable. They must now assess what people are talking about and find solutions for it. So if Jonathan is serious about this, he must go. Many resident electoral commissioners who are actually going to protest for Iwu to be retained must also go. And then they must look at the process.
What about you, Professor Luko?
Well, first, when he says free and fair elections, remember that he probably in his mind is only thinking about the presidential election, and that in fact should be free and fair. But there are 36 gubernatorial elections, there are 360 House of Assembly elections, House of Representatives, there are 109 senatorial elections. So all of these must be free, fair, and credible.
Are they all conducted under INEC?
All of those that I've mentioned, that is part of the issue. All of those are conducted under INEC. So for even any system, and I agree with my friend here that personalities matter. I mean, even though in his trip the acting president has been trying to play that down, personalities do matter. The character of the INEC commissioner, chairman, and the resident commissioners must elicit the confidence of the people who are watching the process.
How do they do that?
Well, I mean,
what about the composition?
That's what part of what Uwe's commission has stated, that the choice of the chairman must be such that it should not be dependent on a president, a sitting president who has a vested interest in his political party winning. It must not be the funding of INEC must not be such that the man waits around the office of the president to get his next funding. So that's why they're talking about a line item budget. And all of those, we've talked about the independent candidacy. I'm concerned even about the number of elections held within a certain period of time. We've not even talked about staggering of the elections in some